So before we discuss what we should do to assure that our students are able to achieve outcomes, we have to see uh, what is the uh, problems in the existing system and how to overcome them. Hmm. In this, as we are talking about outcomes, in this session also, we have to mention what are the expected outcomes of this session. And two outcomes I would like to mention that what are the proper tools for assessment of course outcomes, and program educational objectives, and how to make them valid and reliable for assessment of course outcomes, program outcomes, and program educational objectives. How to use the identified tools. That is another expected outcome of uh, this session. Now, what is the problems in assessment of outcome-based education? Of course, since NBA is insisting for this, most of the universities and institutes say that they have implemented outcome-based education. But truly speaking, uh, there are still many issues, and it is not a true implementation. Now, first, what are the issues? We'll just discuss one by one. The most important problem is that focus is on certification. The focus of assessment is on certification. Certification means giving grades, giving mark sheets, giving ranks to the students, preparing merit list. So that is the focus in any educational setting. And it is because that students value marks. They think that if they have good mark sheet, if they have good marks, good grades, they will be able to get jobs. But and because of this, our the focus of assessments is on certification. Because of this, focus of assessment is not on learning. This is the biggest problem in our education system, in our assessment system. Uh, because our outcome, if we really want to assess outcome, we really want that students should achieve outcomes, then we have to identify their shortcomings, what are the problems they are facing in achieving the outcomes, and then we should try to remove those shortcomings and uh, again them re-educate or retrain till they achieve the outcomes. So that requires focus on learning rather than focus on certification. And this is the mindset that mark sheets are important. This I will like to emphasize that all the participants of this program should uh, have the responsibility if they really want to achieve outcome-based education or really want that the students should have focus on learning, then they should inform students that mark sheets or marks are not very important. The point number two here is undue focus on marks. We think that they are important, but truly speaking, if we analyze the situation, current situation, even the same university which gives you B mark sheet for bachelor's of engineering, if you are a diploma in engineering, and if you ask the same university to have admission, suppose B in engineering, and that student wants to get admission in MTech in the same university, in the same institute, even then that institute will say, okay, this mark sheet is only license for getting admission in MTech. But if you want to get admission in MTech, you have to have a good score in GATE. So mark sheet is only a license for any admission to any higher programs, any higher level program, whether it is PhD, whether it is MTech, you have to face another test. Or if you want employment, you have to face another test. So your knowledge is important, which can be checked by employer or a institute which want for which you have applied for admission to that institute. So we have to reduce the undue focus on marks, and for that it is the responsibility of teachers to communicate this thing to students that okay, you should marks are only indicator. The real thing is that you should have focus on learning. Now, what happens when we have focus on marks? Students go for superficial learning, and they become exam wise, and they just try to get marks by sometimes presenting things in a nice manner, sometimes copying things from other students, getting projects work done from the market. So their focus is on marks, and this focus on marks leads to all undue malpractices. Uh, but if we bring focus on learning, then only students will achieve the outcomes. Another problem in our present method system is that lack of qualitative feedback. What happens, we give marks to the students or grades to the students. Now government of India has tried to reduce this focus on marks by asking a reform in the system that we should give grades instead of marks, so that some suppose highest level of grade is extraordinary or oh, then it is from 90 to 100. Otherwise, what happens? Student will compare each other with 90. Okay, I have received 98%. You have received 95%. So I am superior than you. So that competition leads to the this quantitative feedback, or marks leads to the undue competition. Okay, if a student is scored over 90%, okay, it is good. A student who has scored 90% or 95%, they are nearly equal. There is no need to compare them with each other, because the purpose is here is learning, not the marks. So but what happens when we give marks? We don't give qualitative feedback. Suppose a student has got 6 marks out of 10 in a question, so we give 6 marks, but we don't give qualitative feedback why that student has got only 6, why not 8, what was good in the answer, what which he has given, and what was missing in the answer. So truly speaking, qualitative feedback is missing in our education system. We give only marks, and so student knows that he has scored 60%, but he doesn't know, he's not able to get feedback what he should do, so that next time he should get 80% marks or 90% marks. And this problem is more in case of practicals, because practicals, if you want to develop skills, and which is a very important component of outcome based education, because outcome based education means it is not only we have to try to improve learning in cognitive domain, we have to improve learning in psychomotor domain as well. So in that case, how to give feedback to student that your achievement in skill is up to this level, and for that uh, we have to give qualitative feedback to the students. Okay, whether either in the terms of Dave's taxonomy, or by using rubrics. Okay, your performance in doing certain experiments or certain exercise lab exercises is of this level, and it is these things are missing. So for that, rubrics are suggested. So qualitative feedback is very important, which is missing. We have to improve, think about it. Another important issue is lack of assessment of higher level outcomes. Now, as we see that Professor Joseph might have told you that we have to write outcomes in our curriculum at application and above level. And if we are able to assess that students have achieved higher level outcomes, then automatically it means that student is able to achieve lower level outcomes. That is remembering level or understanding level outcomes. But um, it is written in the curriculum. When we make curriculum, we are very ambitious, and we mention high level outcomes to be achieved by students, and that is good. But when it comes to assessment, we now if we see the question papers, most of our questions are assessing students at lower level. So we need to improve our quality of our question papers, and we have to have more focus on higher level outcomes. And for that, we have to develop specification tables for each question, each subject, or each course. And in that, we have to clearly mention how many questions should be of application level and of type of outcomes, how many questions will be related to understanding level outcomes, how many questions will be related to remembering level outcomes. And we have to see that our questions are as per that specific question paper is made as per that specification table. Hello, I hope you are able to listen me, and you can interrupt me if anybody has any doubt. Please feel free to interrupt me and ask questions. Next issue is lack of assessment of complex outcomes. Now, there's a difference between higher level outcomes and complex outcomes. Can anybody explain me what do you mean by complex outcomes? Because higher level outcomes, you know that if it is remember, understanding, they are lower level outcomes, but application, analysis, and evaluation and creation, that if questions are related to that, exercises are related to that, then it is higher level outcomes. What do you mean by complex outcomes?
Probably it is a combination of several outcomes together. And
Yes, very good, very good, very good. If it is a combination of many outcomes, then it is a complex outcomes. So Professor Joseph might have told you about unit outcomes, about practical outcomes, about outcomes in affective domain. So when we ask a simple question, it is or a question, pure question, that is cognitive outcome, outcome in cognitive domain. It can be of higher level, but it is one outcome only. But when course outcomes are there, course outcomes requires performance in industry, where you require ability in cognitive domain as well as in psychomotor domain as well as in affective domain. So then it becomes a complex outcome. So course outcomes are complex outcomes. Program outcomes are still more complex outcomes. So unit outcomes, which are related to only theory, are simple outcomes. But simple doesn't mean here that their level is different, and simplicity and complexity is different. A simple outcome means a cognitive level outcome, or a question we ask in a question paper can be of higher level. Simple outcomes, simple means only one outcome. Complex outcomes means when there are three or four or at least two outcomes together, and which is making a complex outcome. So course outcomes are complex outcomes. So we don't have any mechanism to assess the complex outcomes. What we do, we assess theory, and if a student is able to assess theory, is able to pass in question paper, we say okay, he has achieved cognitive level outcomes. If a student is able to perform certain experiments in lab, we say okay, student is able to achieve the practical level outcomes. And if we observe a student's behavior and willingness to work, and we say that okay, student is also good in as far as affective outcomes are concerned, but affective domain outcomes are concerned. But in industry, where a student has to perform in real life, he has to apply all the knowledge and abilities in all the three domains, and that is the complex outcome. So how to assess complex outcomes and what we should do for this in our curriculum, I think Professor Joseph might have indicated what we should include in our curriculum so that we can assure that complex outcomes are achieved. Can anybody suggest? Hello? Professor Joseph
Participants,
might have,
participants, please
uh,
respond.
yes, Professor Joseph might have discussed what we should do that to ensure that course outcomes are achieved or program outcomes are achieved. We assume that if a student is able to perform in theory, in practicals, then we assume that course outcomes are achieved. But is there any
so
provision in the curriculum
suppose
where
that
we can assess course outcomes also?
suppose that we have the complex engineering problems to be solved.
Yes.
That comes under complex outcomes.
Okay, you are very right. And for this, what provision we should make in the curriculum so that it is taken care of? Uh, Professor Joseph might have suggested
So
about the micro
introduce
projects.
micro
Has he
level and
suggested about
then you
micro projects
micro
in each
projects,
course?
unit level.
Hello, speak, please speak loudly.
Yes, sir. Micro level projects should be given, and then unit level assignments or tests should be conducted.
Yes, so we should give, you're right, micro projects in each course. We should have one or two micro projects in each course, at least one micro project where we can a student can address a real life problem and try to solve a real life problem or a complex problem, as madam has suggested. So that is possible in case of course, a complex problem can be given as an assignment also, as a micro project also, and even a question paper also. Even in a, suppose some subjects like design problems are normally complex because it requires many things. If you want to design something good, you require knowledge about materials, you require knowledge about forces, suppose you are designing some mechanical component, so you require many things to design a good component. So we have to think about it that our question papers or our examination system also have some provision for assessing complex outcomes. Another problem in India, especially, is that even this psychomotor and affective domain uh, abilities we want to assess. We say that project method is for developing certain qualities like decision making, planning, um, uh, communication, leadership, teamwork. We say that, and everyone agrees for this. That project method is for this. But whether we assess student for these abilities or whether we give feedback to the students about these abilities, that okay, you are able to work as a good team member, but you are not able to work as a team leader because you lack these certain qualities. You need to develop these things, or you are having this type of problems in your communication, or you are having this type of problems in planning. So our method is there, project method is there, but we are when we take viva of a student for a project, we ask questions related to theory, or when we see the project work completed, we don't ask questions related to the process, that what problems they have faced in development of this uh, project, what leadership problems they have faced, or what communication problems they have faced, what problems they have faced in getting team along. So we are not uh, able to give assess, and we are not able to give feedback. Now this learning loop, when learning is not completed unless until we give some exercise to the student, then we assess the student, and not only marks, we should give qualitative feedback to the students. Okay, you are not able to do these things, you do it, and in next cycle or in next semester you try to improve upon your these qualities. So then it will be a continuous process in which student will be able to uh, learn. So, in affective domain, that is the problem. Similarly, in labs or in workshop, when we ask student to perform, or we create to produce a job on a machine, we just see the quality of the product and we give marks or grades, but we don't see the process, that what student, how student was producing that job, or what problems he was facing, what type of skills he was not having. So we are not giving feedback for improvement, especially in psychomotor domain and affective domain. And even the work-based learning, that is project method or practicals, it is supposed to develop psychomotor and affective domain abilities. But even in those situation also, we assess only theory. So that is problem in our assessment system. And of course, the universal problem in India nowadays is liberal marking. We think that it is our duty of teachers to give good marks to the students, so that they have good ranks and good marks, and once they have good marks, they will be able to get good jobs. But this is counterproductive. What happens when we give good marks to the students, even though they don't deserve those marks? Suppose a student who deserves 60% marks, we give him 80% marks. So we are giving wrong signals to the students, and they become complacent. They think that okay, they are achieving 80%, so they are doing enough. And when they face interviews for employment, then of course, when they have 80% mark sheets, they will get interview call, but they will be not able to perform. Or when they will face a written test for some competitive exam, they will not be able to perform. So we should not be very kind to the students. We think that we are helping students, but in a way we are harming students by giving marks liberally. Another thing is, in our assessment system, is lack of assessment culture and language of assessment. Now, what we mean by assessment culture? Assessment culture means a culture where focus is on feedback and learning, not focus on marks. What happens? We give students receive the marks, students pass the exams, and they feel happy. They don't think that this assessment was an opportunity to get real feedback and improve upon. Now, for receiving and giving feedback, we need to develop a language. If we want to communicate about some subject, every subject has its own vocabulary, its own language. Like if we see the in a legal document, there's a special language. If we see the medical prescription, there is some language that SOS is written, or means SOS means save our soul, or this tablet has to be taken when you have some more pain or something like that. So every subject or everything has its own language. So in assessment also, we have to developing and giving for giving feedback and receiving feedback, student has to develop a language where they should not, teachers has to develop a language and a culture with students where students should not feel offended if they receive the feedback. The problem is that since we have stopped giving feedback, and if we suddenly give some feedback to students, students think that why the teacher is giving feedback to me? What is the problem with? Is there any personal issue with this teacher? So that culture is missing, where feedback is taken as a normal thing. So that for that, teachers has to require has to put in lot of efforts and convince students that these feedbacks are not to humiliate you. These feedbacks are for improving you, and you can also discuss problems with us, your learning problems with us, and there should be conversation between the students and teacher based on the performance in the assessment, and then it will lead to improvement. And another thing is that the last line is here is ability to self-assess, and we have to teach students also to self-assess. Now, can anybody differentiate what is the difference between program outcomes and program educational outcomes? Can anybody explain?
Program outcomes are where that are related student during his study,
Yes.
the university, whereas educational objectives are the later part of it, after he exits out of the program.
Okay. Now, who is responsible for developing program outcomes in students? Who is responsible? Of course, student is responsible, but apart from student, who is responsible for developing program outcomes in students?
The teachers.
Teachers. Teachers. Now, who is responsible for developing program educational objectives?
Industry.
Now, industry. Now, in industry, every one of us have worked in industry, means any employer. Industry doesn't mean only manufacturing industry, like tourism and travel industry. So hotels are also industry. So agricultural sector, or so any sector, even educational institute is an employer. Now, what is based on our experience, whether uh, in any employment situation, uh, who is more responsible for developing abilities, whether boss or the employee? Because in educational institute, teacher's job is teacher is dedicated to educate and train. Teacher's responsibility is that, but whether it is boss's responsibility, to boss has enough time, and whether it is
No, it will
responsibility
be
of
the
boss to
employee's responsibility.
it is employee's responsibility.
Yeah.
Now, so that's why, and so which employee will be able to learn? A employee who is
Well
self-directed
trained.
learner. Who is self-directed learner? Because now there
Yeah.
is no teacher. Student should be, employee should be able to see how others are doing, how my boss is doing, and based on that he should learn. And if student has employee has some problem, that employee should ask. If employee is facing some problem in doing something, employee goes to the boss, and then boss will explain. But boss will not come and train him or her like a teacher used to do. So here employee has to be self-directed learner. And
Self-interest. Self-interest.
hello, please speak loudly if you have any doubts. So self-directed learning is required for lifelong learning. If you want to become a lifelong learner, you have to be self-directed learner. And for self-directed learning, you have to do whatever things a teacher used to do for you. For teacher used to give curriculum to the student, teacher will assess the student, teacher will teach the student. But now in industry, there is no teacher. So what to be learned? that employee has to choose by seeing the environment. Okay, these skills are important. I should develop these skills. So curriculum has to be decided by the employee himself. Curriculum for learning in the industry. Now, how to learn, that has to be decided by the employee himself, and then whether to assess whether I have learned these skills or I have mastered these skills. Again, I should be able to assess myself. So, for program educational objectives, to achieve the program educational objectives, a employee has to be self-directed learner or lifelong learner. Lifelong learner doesn't mean that if I attend, I after completing my BE, I should do MTech. After doing MTech, I should do PhD. Then I should do one more MTech. That is not lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is learning on the job, and for learning on the job or learning in the industry based on the experiences. But many people have 20 years of experience, but they are not able to learn. Why they are not able to learn? In our institutes, we see that some teachers are having 20 years of experience, but even then they commit the same mistakes. They are not able to grow. But a teacher who has joined uh, uh, 3 years ago is able to develop many skills. So the difference is the ability to learn on their own when there is no teacher. So that ability has to be there in employee. Now, as a teacher, what is our responsibility? Our responsibility is now to develop that self-directed learning in students also, so that when they go out of educational institutions, when there is no teacher, they should be able to learn on their own. You got my point? So that's why now there is a focus on self-directed learning. Now, point is what we should do so that our students become self-directed learner. Can anybody suggest?
Some part of the curriculum should be self-learning based.
Very good. Now, in that self-assessment should also be part, because self-directed learning means not only learning, it is means choosing curriculum also. Self-directed learning means what teacher does for you, everything you have to do for yourself. Means choosing curriculum, how to do it, how to learn it, and then how to assess whether I am learning it or I have learned it or not. So what type of method we can introduce? Which type of method develops self-directed learning in students? Which method? Of course, that is one technique that out of suppose there are 5 units, one EG unit we can ask student to learn on their own, and there should be different groups can be asked to present on different topics of that unit in the class by learning on their own, and then teacher can correct if there is some wrong learning, and so that is one method. But here curriculum we are giving, but in which method even curriculum teacher is not giving.
Getting
You
them
people use
directly
that.
solve.
Yes.
Getting them directly solve some industrial problem, connect them with some industry, the live problems to be
Yes,
solved.
agreed. Yes, you are to the point, madam. But when we ask student to identify the problem also, like project method or industry related problem, when we don't give problem to the student, we ask student to identify a project title. So student searches a project title. So when a student comes out with a project title, it means student has chosen his own curriculum, that okay, on this topic I am trying to develop curriculum project, and for that some he has to learn some things, means he has to refer internet, he has to visit the industry, he has to consult some seniors, some experts. So then student chooses learning method also, means to student thinks that okay, this material I will found on internet, this material I will found in books, this material, or this is not available somewhere, I have to ask some industry expert. So in project method or industry related problem, curriculum is decided by student, learning method is decided by student. Of course, teacher is there to guide when teacher is available at every moment. Okay, suppose a student decides a very complex project which he will not able to complete in 6 months, then teacher will say, okay, this is very ambitious title, you should reduce level, or you should reduce the amount of work, or you should reduce complexity. So teacher will be there, but at least student has started doing something. It is not spoon feeding. So, in methods where we teachers don't spoon feed, like project method, whether it is a micro project or capstone project, are methods which develop self-directed learning abilities in students. So, we should improve these methods. We should increase the quantity of these methods and quality of these methods in the education system if we really want to develop self-directed learner. And if we can make self-directed learner, then we have achieved our objectives. Then student will continue to learn throughout his life. You got it? So these are the problems related to our assessment in our system. I'm not saying that these problems are there in all the institutes, but in most of the institutes, most of these problems are there. So is there any issue? Do you agree that these problems exist?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All of okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, this slides, Professor Joseph might have told you. I will not discuss much time on take on this, but if you see that subject matter topics, they are many and very specific. So uh, subject matter topics, they are many and but very specific. So they are simple relatively. But as we move in this direction, means if we move from top to bottom, the complexity will increase. And of course, these competency and program outcomes and program educational objective all has been discussed. Now, the thing is that we are normally assessing at this level. Uh, and this level, cognitive domain outcomes, question paper. But practical outcomes, again, we are assessing the theory. We should try to assess the skills. Affective domain outcomes, we should try to assess team working, leadership, communication skills, all those things, which we are not assessing. Then course outcomes are complex. Course outcomes are combination of all these three: unit outcomes, program outcomes, affective domain outcomes. And this is the course outcome. And of course, competency is a combination of 2 or 3 course outcomes, and program outcomes are the combination of many competencies. And then so number will decrease if we move from here to here. Number will decrease if we move from top to bottom, but complexity will increase. And competency can be, for each course there is one competency. So in one program, like diploma program, there can be 30 competencies. In a degree program, there are 40 courses are there. It can be 40 competencies. And then, but program outcomes can be 8, 10, 12. And then program educational objectives can be only 3 or 4. So numbers reduce, but complexity increases. So more complex is the outcome, it is more difficult to assess it. Okay. So these are the some one example where suppose course outcome is produce a job on lathe machine as per given drawing. So this is the course outcome. A student should be able to produce a job on lathe machine as per the given drawing. Now, cognitive domain outcomes required for achieving this course outcome is that he should be able to read the drawing and explain the drawing. He should be able to select proper jig and fixtures to mount the workpiece. He should be able to select proper tool for machining, depending on the type of material for which the job is to be made. Select proper parameters of speed and feed or cut to achieve required finish. So these things require application of mind. So this is cognitive domain outcomes required for this course outcome. Now, practical domain outcomes required for this course outcome is that he should be able to mount the workpiece on chuck with proper centering. Job should be properly mounted with the proper centering. The tool should be able, he should be able to mount the tool properly. Then he should be able to manipulate the knobs for the speed of the chuck and the feed of the tool. And then he should be able to use vernier calipers, screw gauge for measuring dimensions. So these are the practical outcomes required for achieving one course outcome. So one course outcome requires, you are seeing 4 cognitive domain outcomes, 4 practical domain outcomes, and affective domain outcomes also. Means he should be able to observe safety precautions such as wear the safety goggles while working on lathe machine, take care of machine, means use proper lubricants and coolants, maintain cleanliness, clean lubricant, coolants, iron splinters from floor, otherwise he may slip. Conserve the energy, means he should stop the chuck when tool is not cutting. So now you see, for one course outcome, 3-4 cognitive domain outcomes, 3-4 practical domain outcomes, 3-4 affective domain outcomes are required. And that's why course outcomes are a complex outcome. You got it? Now, coming back to this, in cognitive domain outcome, can anybody say which are the remember level, which are, suppose explain the given drawing. This is at what level? Remember or understanding or application?
Remember.
Hello?
It is
Understanding. Next, proper select proper jig and fixtures. Apply. Select proper tool for machine. It is again apply. Select proper parameters of speed and feedback. So it is again apply. So a complex outcome can have many. It can have a combination of low level outcomes or higher level. I have chosen physics because physics is a subject where the units remain the same. Whether you are in 7th class, 8th class, 9th class, 10th class, first year, second year, the units remain same, like general properties, heat, light, sound, magnetism, electricity. Now, what is curriculum? Curriculum is having length, width, and depth. Now, length is number of units, and width is content in each unit. So this upper circle is having area. So that is length multiplied by width is area. So this upper disk is having area, which is length and width. But a unit like heat, it is having length and width, but depth is remember, understanding, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. So the depth of curriculum is missing in our question paper. When if you see any question paper, suppose 100 marks are there for physics, so 20 marks question will be from general properties, 20 from heat, 20 from electricity, 10 from magnetism, 20 from light, 10 from sound. So distribution of marks in different topics, different units will be good as per their length and width. So this length and width is not problem. Problem is depth. So remember, understanding, apply. So you see, what is question paper? Question paper is reduced sample of the curriculum or a reduced copy of the curriculum. So our representative sample of the curriculum. Now, as far as representative sample is concerned, in length and width, it is representative. But in depth, it is not representative. Our question papers, they are not representative in depth. In depth, they are asking either question from remember, at the most from understanding. Very few questions from apply, analyze, evaluate, or create. So what is needed is to make the question paper really representative of the curriculum, and for that we have to ensure the depth also. Our question papers, as far as length and width is concerned, they are okay, but depth is missing. And what we should do for that depth, unless until we ensure the depth, we are not going to achieve the outcomes. Now, for that, this is the specification table where for each unit we have the teaching hours, and for teaching hours depend upon the length, width, and depth to be taught, and length and width and depth of the content to be taught. And suppose there are 14 weeks semester and 4 credits, so 64 weeks, 64 periods will be there for that course. And this is the distribution of teaching hours. Now, based on this distribution of teaching hours and the complexity of the content, the marks will be allocated to different units. Okay. So marks are allocated to different units. Now, these marks, our question paper ensures that we ask 24 questions, 24 marks question from general properties, 22 marks from heat. But the problem is that out of these 24 course marks, how many marks will be related to remember level, understanding level, application level, analysis level, evaluate level, or create level? So that is the problem. So we have to give a guideline to the question paper setter. Okay, I'm not saying that it should be very fixed. It should be a general guideline. Okay, from this course, this unit, Out of 24, 4 marks can be from remembrance, 6 marks from understanding, 6 application, 6 analysis, 2 for evaluation, 2 for creative. So this is general guideline, and this distribution depends upon the nature of the content. In some content, there can be more questions related to application or analysis and less questions related to understanding. In some content, there can be more questions related to understanding and remembers, and less questions related to analysis or application. So it depends on the subject matter experts. So 2 or 3 subject matter experts should sit together and make this specification table for each course and distribute marks at different levels of taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, and then should ensure that in a question paper of 100 marks, if this total should at least be maintained, that 14 marks should be from remember level, 25 questions should be from understanding level, and so on. So you got it. So a specification table is the tool required for to ensure that questions from higher level outcomes are also asked. I think most of the teachers who have attended training programs of NITER may be knowing about this specification table. So you got it. Is there any questions about the specification table? Hello?
No, sir.
Is it okay? Is it proper tool to ensure
Yes.
Okay, sir.
higher level questions related to higher level outcomes? Okay.
Sir, is there
Now-
any reference? Because
Yes.
might be the same subject if I am teaching, and
Yes.
the same subject some other teacher is teaching. So is there
Yes.
any reference that how these 14 marks have to be distributed as per the Bloom's level? I may think that okay, for electricity and magnetism, the creativity should have more marks rather than only understanding and remembering.
Yes, of course, you are right. And that's why I said that when we make curriculum, in curriculum, we can make a specification table and it should not be one teacher's view. That's why I said 2 or 3 subject teachers should sit together and then they should make the curriculum. Then they should discuss and then it is subjective issue. It is not very objective. Then they should make this specification table. So that is one point. Second thing is, it should not be very hard and fast. If you see the curriculum made by us, by knitters, we below specification table, we write this is a guideline only. It may happen that one teacher may ask more questions at remember level in light and less questions in electricity and magnetism and more questions at creative level and evaluate level in case of electricity and magnetism. So it may happen, but this is a general guideline which should be, and a good teacher, actually, let me tell you what is the purpose of all these things. A good teacher will not need a specific table. Good teacher will not need anything. Good teacher will automatically, subconsciously will do all these things. But what happens in India, especially at university level, or some affiliating colleges, all teachers are not good. Some junior teachers, they don't have experience. So if we have this kind of a specification table, they will start thinking at least in this direction. So this should not be treated as very sacrosanct or it's like a constitution. It should be a guideline, and of course, flexibility should be there to a teacher. But teacher should think, while making questions paper, should try to adhere as much as possible to this. But this should not be very rigid. You got my point, madam?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. That's what. Yes,
Ah.
sir. That's what my viewpoint was. That
Yes, yes.
it should be done with a proper. It comes with a proper experience, and
Yes.
this should be not taken as a very hard and fast, stringent table.
Yes, you are very
It
right.
can be taken as a reference.
Reference. Yes, you are very right.
Yes.
Very right. And this should be helpful for the new teachers or unexperienced teachers more. And of course,
Yeah. Actually, for
a good teacher.
assessment, it is for assessment, that is setting of question paper. It is good
Yes.
because it gives a direction to the paper assessor and paper
Yes.
setter that how much
Yes.
marks I have to give at every level.
Yes, madam, you are very right. And this table should be made not by one teacher. This should be in NITER, whatever projects we have done at NITER Bhopal with Professor Joseph and myself coordinated. We for each subject because curriculum is art of balancing. Curriculum, even what should be taught in one particular subject, one teacher cannot decide. So three, four experienced teachers, including some senior teachers, some new teachers who are in more contact with the latest technology, and they are asked to sit together and to decide the course content, decide the course outcomes, decide the different outcomes, and even specification table also.
Yeah,
So it should
there
be
is a proper, for NBA also there is a proper process,
yes,
that how to design these COs or PEOs. A proper
yes, madam.
committee has to be formed, and
Yes, madam.
brainstorming sessions have to be done,
Yes,
so
madam.
that the final POs or COs are designed.
Balanced, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
because it should take care of everything, means implementation issues also.
yes, exactly.
It should be implementable. Okay, good. Now, is there any mechanical engineer uh, in this group? Uh, uh, can anybody tell me how we should try to, because learning and assessment in uh, psychomotor domain really, if you really try to assess and develop skills, learning and assessment goes hand in hand. It is little bit different from uh, cognitive domain, because like instructors are there in labs, and instructors will try to develop skills at different levels. Now, like coach is for sports coach or musician, music training. The teacher, the trainer, here we use the word trainer or coach, works or sit together with the, like in music, the trainer is there sitting with the learner, and learner performs, and trainer goes on giving feedback, you do this way, that way, and in that process learner learns, like sports coach. Or so similarly, instructor is there in workshop, and instructors try to develop abilities from lower level to the highest level. Now, whether Professor Joshua has discussed these levels?
Yes, sir. Yesterday
Hello?
he discussed.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you see the first three levels are what are first three levels? First three levels means one skill student try to first observe and try to imitate from the trainer, then manipulate his hands and legs and try to do the things properly. Then precision level means student is able to do one thing without without having help of trainer. So these first three steps are related to the quality. Means a student should be able to produce a job of quality. Then articulation means when student can do two or three things simultaneously, combines more than one skill in sequence with accuracy. When student can do two or three things um, together and with less efforts or with each. And then naturalization means when student is able to do many things together without being in tension and with more speed. So above two levels are related to productivity. So first we should try to develop to ensure that student is able to make things as per quality. Next thing, if student is able to make things as per quality, next thing is that student should be able to make things fast also. And for that, articulation, naturalization level is there. So first is quality, another top two is productivity. Now, when we talk of competency, competency is up to precision level. And competency means a student should be able to do things without harming himself or herself, without uh, damaging the machine, without wasting the material, without harming his colleague. So a student should be able to do it, but we are not bothered about speed or efficiency. So this is competency. And when student works in the industry and for 5 years, 10 years, then student become expert. So this up to precision level is competent level. And when a student is able to do things fast and in any setting or complex things, then student becomes the complex expert. Now our job in industry in institute is bring student up to what level? What should be our aim to bring students in the institute up to competent level or expert level?
Competent levels.
Of course, because expert level we can't achieve. So that's, and of course जो expert है, expertise, spelling of expertise and spelling of experience is nearly same. So expertise comes from experience. So for that, learning from experience, so students should learn in industry based on self-directed learning skills, and then student will become competent. So expert. So no university in the world, whether Oxford, Harvard, or MIT, they can't claim that they are making experts. They can claim only that their students are competent. Now, only working for many years in industry will make you expert. So we should be able to tell students in assessment, ki, okay, you are up to imitation level, or you are up to manipulation level, or you are up to precision level. So that is possible. How it is possible? If we make, for giving proper feedback in practicals, which method we should use? Which method we should use for giving proper feedback to the students? Which assessment tool we should use in practicals, so that we can give proper feedback to the students quickly and to all students? Qualitative feedback, not marks. This method is very discussed, much discussed in NBA. Rubrics. Have you heard about rubrics? Hello?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So rubrics. In rubrics, we should mention if if we give poor means indicator should be there. Okay, if a student is able to imitate only, then he may be at imitation level. So we may give, say, poor or average. When student is able to perform skill according to instruction rather than observation, we can say good, or then very good or excellent. If student is, so we have to give indicators for, it depends on type of exercise or uh, type of experiment or type of job. Rubrics should be used for, if we want to have proper assessment in practical domain or psychomotor domain, rubrics has to be prepared. Now, anybody having experience of using rubrics, or any problems with the rubrics, or any concern about use of rubrics, it may take more time, or it is not practically possible,
Sir, we
please feel
use
free to discuss.
yeah, we use for experiments.
Yes. So what is your experience of using rubrics?
Uh, it's good, sir, because there are marks for various components. Like we are in computers, so for
Okay.
analyzing there are some marks. For output there are some marks. For execution,
Yes. Of course, marks are there, and
so
there are indicators also in those, that for each mark, each level. Okay, if out of 5, student is getting 1 mark, so what are the indicators? What he or she is able to do? 2 marks means what he or
yeah,
she is able to do. What she or he is not able to do. Is there indicators
no, sir,
or only
no
marks?
indicator. Yeah,
Hello. If
yes,
it is
sir,
only
only
marks,
marks.
then it is no. Then it is not serving the purpose, because it should have indicators. Suppose lathe machine. Okay. Suppose if we say that dimension job is as per dimension, but surface but tolerance is little bit exceeding the tolerance limit, or job is having proper shape but dimensions are not accurate. That is the lowest level. Then in higher level, job is in the proper shape and dimensions are within tolerance limit. That is the higher level. But surface finish is not good. But excellent level is job is as per the given shape, dimensions are also accurate or within tolerance limit, and third thing is surface finish is also good. And the or most highest level will be the time taken is also less. So or so these different indicators has to be there. So there has to be a separate session on rubrics, how to make rubrics and how to use it. Now, the most common problem, people think that it is very time consuming. Of course, making rubrics is time consuming, but once you make rubrics and you do photocopy of it and to give each student, then student will know if I want to get
Oh,
5 out of 5 marks, these are the indicators which I should achieve. Suppose for computers, if you say that okay, software is able to work, that is the minimum level. The next level is that it takes less time. Third, there are very less errors. Fourth, documentation the software is proper. So different indicators should be there, and based on that, marks should be given. So a student should know if I am getting 2 out of 5, what I have done, what I have missed. So that is the rubrics. So is there anybody who is heavy
Okay.
experience of using rubrics or making rubrics? Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Niraj.
Hello,
Sir,
yes, please
actually,
speak loudly.
yeah, sir. Actually, we have used the rubrics for project as well as for lab. So,
Okay. So your rubrics have qualitative indicators also or only marks?
sir, both. Actually, not only marks, qualitative also. Because on the
Yes.
basis of
So,
presentation, on the basis of what type of latest topic they have selected or not, these type of rubrics we have.
okay, good. So we can have separate session on rubrics, how to make good rubrics for each thing, for project, for lab, for different thing. And the thing is that once you have rubrics, what happens in the practical problem in case of assessment in psychomotor domain or labs or projects is that student expect us to give full marks in practicals or project or nearly full marks. And teachers are also under pressure to give full marks due to social reasons. What is the social reason? Since you are not able to pinpoint to the students ki what mistakes they have done or what is lacking in their performance. But if rubrics is there, so you have to give benefit of doubt to the students. So you have to give 80% marks, 90% marks to every student. But if rubrics is there, you take 3 out of 5, then indicators are there. Why 3 is there? For 4, you should have done this. For 5, you should have done this. So like project, if some in project there is literature review, one part is literature review. So literature review, if you say if you refer 7 papers, you get 1 mark. If you refer more than 10 papers, you will get 2 marks. If you refer more than 10 papers, you will get 3 marks. If papers are old, then you will get only 1 mark. If your papers are latest, you will get 3 marks. So indicators you have to give. And once indicators are there, then you will be able to give less marks also to the students. And proper student will also get the feedback. And in that case, our assessment of practicals and project work will become more accurate. Now, what is happening in India in most of the institutes? I'm not saying all teachers, but most of the teachers, they are forced to give good marks to the students, whether they have performed or not. And why they are forced to give good marks? Because they are not able to pinpoint their mistakes. Once rubrics are there, you will take very less time. You have to just tick. Indicators are already there. So rubrics are required for assessing the uh, achievement of outcomes in psychomotor domain. Otherwise, it is not possible. Like a specification table is required for making good question paper. In cognitive domain, rubrics is must for making good assessment in psychomotor domain, and in affective domain also, rubrics are also required. This whether this has been discussed with Professor Joshua, affective domain taxonomy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So Professor Joshua has discussed this. Now, if you see the West taxonomy and Cartwell's taxonomy, there is a very nearly 90% similarity. How many steps are there? 5. Here also there are 5 steps. First step was imitation. Here it is receiving. Receiving means teacher is having good attitude, student is also seeing that. So like in psychomotor domain, instructor is doing some operation on machine and the student is observing. So here receiving means the student is seeing the good attitude, like teacher is when teacher is coming out of his class, teacher is switching off the lights and fans. So student is observing a good attitude. Responding, their manipulation. When in psychomotor domain, next stage was manipulation. Here it is responding, means manipulation means student tries to do things on his own. Here responding means student tries to copy that behavior, and student tries to uh, behave as teacher was doing. In affective domain, student learns from others, from teachers, from seniors, other good students, and try to do it. That is the next stage. Then valuing. There it was precision. Precision means accuracy. Now valuing means when suppose I will switch off the fans and lights even if nobody is watching. Sometimes people show good behavior when under social pressures, but when some people value the things by heart. If I believe something by heart, I will do it even if somebody is not watching. There is nobody watching me. Even then, I will do it because myself, I myself believe that this is a good thing. I should do it. Now, next stage was articulation. Articulation means combining 2-3 skills together. Means while doing a articulation in psychomotor domain, and in affective domain it is organizing. In psychomotor domain, articulation means doing suppose working on lathe machine, he is controlling the speed of the chuck, controlling the field of the tool. So 2-3 things simultaneously. Similarly, suppose you are driving a car, you are controlling the steering, that is one skill. You are watching in the side mirror, that is another skill. You are using brake and accelerator, so legs for that purpose, so that is another skill. So you are using 2 or 3 skills together, that is articulation. And here organizing means you have many values, but when you are forced to use many values together, then it is organizing. So for example, I will give a common example. Suppose I value that I should do exercise in the morning. I value that I should reach my college in time. I value that I should do prayers in the morning, 5 minutes or 10 minutes at least. I value that I should help my wife in the morning, some household chores. So these 4 values are good. But to achieve all the 4 values together, I have to show commitment. And suppose I'm following these 4 values, I am doing some exercise, some prayers, helping my wife, and I am reaching the institute in time also. But then fifth problem comes that my neighbor is admitted in a hospital, and his wife says that while you go to the institute, you give this breakfast to my husband in the hospital. And you have to take a little bit longer route. So you have to spend 15 minutes more there. Now, in this situation, how to manage your remaining 4 values? So either I have to skip the exercise, or I have to skip the prayer, or I should reach the hospital late, institute late. So that is a little bit expertise level. So that comes with experience, how to handle many values together. That is a big issue, which I have discussed in professionalism, my module on in MOOCs, AICT module professionalism. I have discussed how to handle many values together. Many examples are there. But in the institute, at least we have to reach student up to valuing level. Now, organizing means handling many values together and then characterizing. Like in psychomotor domain, there was naturalization. Means like driving a car. When you drive a car, you are thinking about official problems, you are thinking about your domestic problems, but at the same time, you are using all the skills, seeing in the side mirror, controlling the steering, controlling the brake accelerator, so using the horn. So many skills you are doing together, but you are thinking something else. So that becomes natural for you to drive the car. Similarly, characterizing means when your total behavior, you need not to think, you automatically behave in such a manner that your behavior is as per the values. So this again, like there, up to precision, we can develop in the institute, and expertise like articulation and naturalization is developed in industry. But similarly here, we should try develop ability, attitudes up to valuing, and this student will learn over a period of time. So that should be focus of our assessment in affective domain. And of course, for this also rubrics are required, and it is possible to make rubrics in affective domain also. Now this curve, Professor Joseph might have shown you. Now you see this competent is 3-4 years in the institute. You can make student competent, but to make expert, and competency level is nearly 80% of learning. Initially, learning is very fast, but from becoming competent to expert, you requires 5 to 10 years in workplace, and that requires you to here teacher is there, but so uh, here it is program outcomes are competency level, but for expertise it is program educational objectives. You have to develop on your own, and for this you require lifelong learning. So that's why this lifelong learning is important in NBA. And for lifelong learning, what do you require? For lifelong learning, you require self-directed learning, because teacher is not going to be there. That luxury of having teacher is not there throughout life, and throughout life you have to be self-directed learner. So this learning curve we should keep in mind while designing our assessment. Our assessment in each domain should be up to competency level, and so this is competency level, this is expertise or proficiency level. So whether it is assessment in cognitive domain or practical domain or social skills or attitudes, we have to keep this in mind. Is it clear? Do you accept this curve? Please.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. So this curve is very important. This we have developed based on our experience, and we have tried to combine the concept of different levels of outcomes and the way students learn in this curve. Now we have discussed about the concept of uh, general theory, concept related to assessment in all the three domains. Now, what are the tools? Tools for assessment, all of us know: quizzes, exams, midterm exams, end semester exams, assignment, open book exams, mini, micro, and capstone projects, seminars, practical exams, work-based exams, experiment-based exams, industrial training, field work. All these are the teaching methods as well as assessment also. For me, every teaching method is an opportunity for assessment, and for every assessment is opportunity for learning. We should keep in mind, and we should tell this to the student. Even when we attempt a question paper, we learn in that process also. So assessment and learning is integral. It is not separate. It is interwoven. So we should tell students that even while attempting a question paper, they can also learn. So all these methods are methods for teaching learning, like quizzes. Quizzes is a method for teaching learning as well as informal method for assessment. Now, can anybody tell what is the key difference between a question paper in a examination setting and an open book exam? What is the key difference?
There is no set definite answer for an open book test.
Yes.
Students have to apply their knowledge so that they can solve a particular set of problems.
Okay. So they can refer to the material, but they have to apply their mind. Knowledge may be there in the material, but they have to apply their mind and some, of course, prerequisite knowledge. Yes, madam.
In the open book exam, we can give them scenario-based question instead of regular questions.
Which type of questions?
Scenario-based questions. Scenario-based questions. That means yes, application-based question instead of regular questions.
Okay. Now, can anybody still this method is used in some extent in schools, even in normal question paper? In some subject, this is used in schools and in engineering college also. Can somebody point out where it is used? In schools also, this open book type method is used in even 10th class, in 12th class board exams. Okay, I will give a hint. In language, it is used. Gujarati, English, Marathi, Hindi, Punjabi. Have you seen this unseen passages in English or in Hindi? There is unseen passage. Means instead
Yes,
of a
sir.
lesson from a book, one paragraph is written, and then questions are asked from that paragraph. Student is supposed to read that paragraph, 10 lines, 15 lines, 20 lines, and then some questions are asked from that paragraph. So, can it be said a kind of open book exam? It is a example of open book exam, because instead of whole book, one page is given, and student is supposed to answer from that page. And that page can be from newspaper or from any other book, but it is not from the textbook, where a student can answer based on memory. So in open book exams, students can't answer based on their memory. They have to search the answer, apply their mind, and give the answer. Similarly, in engineering, design, questions related to design. Some in questions related to design, we ask students to refer to the tables, charts, like steam tables or steel tables, and so they can refer, and then they are supposed to design the some component. So in engineering also we are doing to some extent, but there is need to increase that. What is happening in our setting? Uh, we are having more questions related to just memory based application, but if we have more numericals, more design based questions, then we will be able to introduce this type of questions in our assessment system. Now we will discuss this everything quickly, because we are short of time. I have started late also, so I will take 15-20 more minutes more. So I will give you overview of all this one by one. Quizzes used for informal formative assessment. It is for formative, means it is not end of the semester exam. It is formative, but formative also it is informal, because we don't give marks based on quizzes. Uh, the purpose is to provide feedback to students and teachers while teacher is teaching. So it is continuous process. Teacher asks some questions to the students and students respond it. So both get the feedback. Teacher is able to get the feedback whether students are learning or not, and students are able to get feedback whether they have learned or not. And in questions are simple, one concept only. Question can be short answer, multiple choice. It can be either oral or written, because it is very fast. It is very it can be planned or unplanned. It can be extempore. And the advantage is it keeps students attentive in class, maintains their interest, and helps them in clearing their doubts. And it should not be used for grading. As I said, it is informal. It is not formal, and cannot be used for assessment at CO level. It can be used for only for simple one question, simple concept. It can be used. So this is quizzes. Now, assignment or open book exam used for assessment of higher level complex learning at course outcome level. It can be used. Yep. So for course outcome level, we can use assignments or open book exams, where a student has to search material from internet or books, different books, and then apply it. Application of more than one concept in real life situation can be assessed, because it is scenario based, as somebody said, like case studies. Case studies in management, they are open book exam kind of thing. Problem should be new to the students. It should not be, so we should not give the same problem which we have given to the last year to the students, and solution should not be available directly in the books. So for one problem there can be many answers, and all answers may be correct. Of course, there may be some answers may be more useful, more suitable, but you can't say that this is 100% correct, this is 100% wrong. Suppose I ask a student to design a component, design a suppose a land plot of 50 feet by 30 feet. I can ask a student to design a house with 2 bedrooms, one kitchen, one bedroom, one hall, and one staircase, 2 toilets. So different students may come out with different designs. So all may be correct, but different designs may have different strengths and weaknesses. must require collection of information from multiple sources. For solving those problems, only one book should not be sufficient. They should be able to collect information from different sources and apply that information. Case studies, critical essays, troubleshooting can be used to assess higher level outcomes. Different students should be given different problems assignment. This is very important. If we actually when we say that in this please listen it very important, very sincerely, this point which I am raising. We have the same curriculum for all the students. Now in our class, there are some poor students, academically poor, I mean, academically weak students, academically average student, academically very strong students. Now, curriculum is to be same. We can't change the curriculum, but at least we can change the problems. We can have different problems for different groups of students, because our purpose of assessment is not to give only marks for comparison purpose. We should not think that if we give easy problem to a weak group of weak students and a difficult problem to a strong group of students, then how we'll compare them? Because purpose is not to compare. It is not a selection test. It is for giving feedback to the students for their learning. If we give very strong problem to very poorly academically poor students, they will not attempt it. They will copy it, and or they will get it done by somebody else. Or similarly, we give very easy problem to a strong group of students. They will not learn it because they already know the things. So it should be challenging according to their capability. And when there is a little challenge, then people learn. So we should give the, like I am saying, purpose of assessment is not to bring all students to same level or compare them. That is norm reference testing. But it is to improve the level of each student. That is the criteria reference testing. Means we should try to bring student from their level to higher level. So if poor student becomes average, then we are satisfied. If average becomes a good student, then we are satisfied. If good students become very good, we are satisfied. So we should give different problems to different students according to their ability. This should be, I would say, this should be there in all the methods as far as possible. In case of similar or same problem, algorithm should be checked. Qualitative feedback must be provided. Of course, in every assessment, there should be qualitative feedback. Only marks are not going to serve the purpose. Can be used for formative as well as for summative purpose. This open book exam. Midterm exams, you know it. I will. The most important thing which Professor Joseph might have emphasized, that questions should not start with 5 W's and H, but start with action verb. This is very important from outcome-based education point of view, because our outcomes start with action verb, and the type of verb indicates whether this action or this ability is at remember level or understanding level or analysis level. So our questions, if they start with action verb, then they are very specific. If we say define, okay, then student knows that he has to define. He is supposed to define. If we say give examples, then student knows that he is supposed to give example. If we say analyze, compare, so student knows it, what he is supposed to write in the answer. And we also know that at which level we are asking the question. So this is very important. And second thing is question. If we want to make questions short answer, a question very specific or at the level of Bloom's taxonomy, normally questions should be short answer questions. In some cases, it can be essay type also, or multiple choice also. But in our midterm exam setting, and if we want to avoid copying, if we have multiple choice questions, then copying is possible. So short answer questions should be given in midterm exams and in university exams as far as possible. Multiple choice questions are good for selection for competitive exams, but not for university exams. Second thing with multiple choice questions is that if we ask the problem with multiple choice questions, now we say that you might have heard, this is very important information which I would like to share with all of you, that now even with so much internet, so much communication, TV, radio, newspapers, students are having poor communication skills. Have you thought why they are having poor communication skills? The reason for poor communication skills is multiple choice questions. Because what happens as soon as a student reaches class 7th or 8th, parents ask student to go to the coaching classes for preparation for JEE, IIT, and NEET or something like that. And there they are taught how to solve the multiple choice questions. So in multiple choice questions, they learn how to tick. So they have become analytical. They know how to solve the problems, but they are not able to communicate there. But when we ask a student to give answer to short answer questions or essay type of questions, they are supposed to write sentences. They are supposed to write paragraphs, and in that process they used to learn the communication skills. So in India, because of these competitive exams and multiple choice questions, the students are losing communication skills. So we should not promote multiple choice questions too much. We should ask short answer questions. And another problem with multiple choice questions is guessing, copying, all those things. And if we have essay type questions, then we have problem of bluffing. But in short answer questions, it is difficult to copy, difficult to guess, difficult to bluff. So I would say short answer questions are the best type of questions as far as university exam is concerned or midterm exam is concerned. And most important thing with short answer questions is that if the question is of 3 marks or 4 marks, so we can ask 20 or 25 questions in a question paper. But if we have essay type questions, so we can ask only 5 or 10. So it is difficult to give proper coverage to the curriculum. So this is our midterm exams. End of the term exams, same thing we should keep in mind. And of course, we should ask more numericals. And this is, I would like to emphasize that if we ask numerical type of questions, automatically our level of taxonomy will increase. Because then numerical type of questions, students apply, analyze, something student has to do, apply his mind. So numerical questions should be more. And they should not start with 5 Ws, that is when, where, why, or how. They should start with action verbs. And all other things you might have, because time is less, I will not discuss. Now, mini, micro, capacitance project. This is very important. But the problem with this is that this is the most likely assessed. Project method is most likely assessed method. We have developed a complete guideline, 20-page document about this, how to assess the micro projects, mini projects, capacitance projects, and how to assess these things. It is possible to assess these things: planning, team working, decision making, leadership, time management, communication, resourcefulness, initiative, persistence, creativity, how to handle ethical conflict. All these things are possible to achieve, and we have introduced methods for this. And for this, we have to develop rubrics, and for certain things, we have to develop reflective portfolio. Now, portfolio itself is a very complex concept. There are 2 types of portfolios. One is showcase portfolios, like these beauticians have, this fashion designers have portfolio where they have the collection of the things they have made in the past. So that is showcase portfolio. They show it to the their clients. Or architects have their portfolio, or this. Now portfolio is used in another term, like the cabinet ministers, they use a portfolio means what type of job they are doing. And like share markets, people have collection of different company shares. Then another term used for, they also use portfolio for that. But here portfolio means collection of works, that is showcase portfolio. But reflective portfolio, we have to this is very complex concept, but if it is done, then it teach reflective portfolio. In reflective portfolio, a student thinks about his or her own performance and writes down whether team working, planning, whether he was able to do team working properly or planning properly, or what were the problems faced by him. So this leads to the self-assessment abilities. So that both type of portfolio we used. For micro projects, we used showcase portfolio because each course has one micro project. So suppose 30 courses are there in a diploma, or 40 courses in a degree. So a student will compile a folder where he have this reports of micro projects. So 30 or 40 micro projects in a one portfolio, that will be showcase portfolio. And reflective portfolio for reflection on the work he has done, his self-reflection. So this is a big complex idea which requires time to accept it and implement it. So we can discuss it if in future, if opportunity is available. And proper feedback mechanism and assessment should be. What is another important point is that progressive assessment at planning stage should be there, execution stage should be there, and completion stage should be there. So internal assessment should not be at the end only. That is a mistake in case of projects. So there should be at least 3 assessment, and this will help. Then the teacher will be able to give feedback to the students how to develop these things, what is missing in their planning, team working, decision making. So teacher will be able to give qualitative feedback as well as able to assess the students in all the three level stages: the planning stage, execution stage, and completion stage. This will make project method more systematic and assessment more systematic. So, and of course, it requires a lot of time to discuss this, but this is the most neglected area of assessment, and this needs a lot of improvement if we really want to achieve high level outcomes, especially in affective domain like planning, the team working, decision making, leadership, time management, communication skills, resourcefulness, initiative, which is required a lot by industry if we want to develop these things. And when we have micro projects in each course, because when student is doing one project in each course, then 30 core projects he is doing, then automatically he will develop these skills. Till now, what used to happen, only one project in the final year. So student is not able to develop all these skills by one project only. So this we should take care. And one thing I will request all of you that don't make project very complicated. If projects are very complicated, students will get it done from market. So second thing, ask student to do it there on their own, even if it is incomplete. Say student, we will give marks to your original work, even if it is incomplete. We will see your efforts. We will not see your success. Because in India, the major problem with projects is that we want students to make very fancy, very innovative projects, and which is not possible for a student to do it within 6 months, and so they get it done from the market. I will ask all of you to reflect whether we in our life is able to complete any project which we have decided in time. Suppose I decide that I will make a house within 1 year. I start making a house, but it will take 2 years. I decide that I will complete this. I will um, plan. I will see that my younger sister is got wedded within 2 years, but it takes 3-4 years. So any project in life, whether it's official, I want to develop my lab in the institute. I think that in 1 year I will be able to develop it, but it takes 3 years. So when we are not able to complete any project in time, government is not able to complete any project in time, why should we expect a poor student to complete the whole project in 6 months? So we should, okay, if they are able to do it, it's very good and very good. But if they are not able to do despite of their efforts, so we should monitor them that they are doing it. We should help them. But if they are not able to do it, ask them to complete the incomplete project, whatever they have done, so that they learn it. But when we ask them to develop the culture that they get it, they can get it developed from the market, and we want to see the complete project, then the whole things which we want them to learn, they are not able to learn. Do you agree with my this point? Please.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this is the real problem in project method. Seminars is must for assessment of presentation and communication skills. They can be related to projects. They can be related to self-learning. Suppose we give some topics for self-learning and then ask students to project seminars. Of course, rubrics should be used for assess and provide qualitative feedback. In seminars, rubrics can be prepared for seminars also. Can be used for providing feedback on self-learning of some topics of curriculum. Should also use for assessment or learning in project method. So seminars can be used. Practical, I have discussed that we should have rubrics. Industrial training. This is also one of the neglected area. What happens? We ask students to go and visit industry, but we don't have a set structure for assessment in industrial training. So student pass time in the industrial training. So for this, we should ask student to give some framework for what they are supposed to see in the industry. And for that, and what should be the structure of report? We can prepare a common structure of report that they should have first chapter on type of industry and organization of industry, products that industry is making. Another chapter can be on manufacturing process or the different process of services in that industry. Third can be different special equipment, the machines used in that industry. Fourth can be about raw material and material handling equipment in that industry. Fifth chapter can be about qualitative inspection, quality assurance process in that industry. So we should give a structure for student to prepare the report and see the things in the industry. And we should ask student to submit weekly report from the industrial supervisor. Means student should prepare the report and should get signed from the industrial supervisor. Logs of activity should be there. they can prepare a portfolio of what they have done in the industry. Suppose they have done something, if industry has allowed them to do something, and reports should be very structured, and we should give format for that. Of course, we can have one complete session on this, how to make industrial training and proper assessment for that. And at the end, there should be presentation and oral questioning. So industrial training also can be used for assessment of integration of COs or POs. Project method can be used for assessment of COs or POs. But the thing is that to do it properly, it is being done, but not properly. Of course, there are indirect tools for assessment, and for that, of course, employer survey is there, alumni survey is there, student survey is there, faculty survey is there, and of course, these are more needed for program educational objectives. And of course, COs and POs also to some extent, but program educational objectives we can't assess, because after 4 years in industry we can't go and assess, but we can get feedback from alumni, we can get feedback from their employers, that whether they are able to achieve program educational objectives or not, and what are the problems in that. So this is all what I wanted to discuss in this session. And one more thing is that how to report it. Three more slides, which I will finish quickly. Now we have to this National Credit Framework and National Higher Education Qualification Framework. This Government of India, as per, has suggested that there should be standard method of reporting. Now people have different types of grades. Like in this one, they are using one university A, B, BC, CC, like this. Some use A plus, B plus, some use E or something, different grades. But this is the standard grades. So we have to ask our university, our institute, our Directorate of Technical Education to use these grades only. And this should be the grade point: absent, fail, pass, C, F for fail, P for pass, that is 4 marks, up to 4 marks out of 10, or 40% pass, 50% average, 60%, 50 to 60% below average, above average, 60 to 70% good, that is B plus. Then A is very good, 70 to 80%, 80 to 90% A plus, excellent, and outstanding is O. So this we should use as a standard method for reporting. And another thing is, which is very important, that we have list of competencies for each course. I will take only 5 minutes. List of competencies for each course. Of course, NBA doesn't say that we should make competencies, but NBA says we should have course outcomes and we should have program outcomes. Now, program outcomes are same for whether it is Rajiv Gandhi Technical University, whether it is Punjab University, whether it is Gujarat Technical University. Both program outcomes are same for BE Electrical or BE Mechanical. Some is program specific outcomes, 1 or 2 may be different. So how, by seeing the program outcomes, employer will be not able to see the difference between curriculum of Gujarat or curriculum of Rajasthan or curriculum of UP or curriculum of MP Technical University. Now coming to COs, each course is having 3 or 4 COs. Now suppose in diploma 30 courses, so number of COs are 120 or 150. In degree 40 courses, so each course is having 5 COs, so 200 COs. So a employer doesn't have time to see 200 COs of the curriculum. So how employer will see whether your curriculum is latest or not, or whether your pass out is latest or is having abilities required in industry or not. So, but if you have the list of competencies like this, so for each course there is one competency. So depending upon the type of courses you have, you can give the list of a student is able to pass a course, means student has achieved that competency. So like develop program in C++, evaluate the use of data structure and software application, develop application using Java programming language. So this is a list of competencies related to a B in computer or diploma in computer. Evaluate the automata of a computing system, evaluate the performance of digital circuits and services. So these are the competency student possesses. So suppose there are 30 courses, student will have 30 competencies. So in back of the mark sheet, we should list the competencies. Now suppose there are elective groups, so different students have chosen different electives. Accordingly, suppose there are 25 compulsory courses and 5 elective courses. So 25 competencies will be common for all the students, and 5 competencies will vary according to the electives student have chosen. So when a student will go to the industry, employer, student can show the to the employer these competencies I possess. And similarly, if a student has a folder of micro projects completed, suppose student has completed 1 micro project in each course and 30 micro projects, employer, he can show employer, I have completed these micro projects, these are the reports. So this we have implemented in certain states, and this is very successful, and students are very happy, industry is very happy. So I would say that we should go for competencies in each course, whether NB require it or not. And second thing, we should go for micro projects, and we should assure proper assessment of all these. So this is what I wanted to discuss about questions. Now any question about questions or any question about assessment, please feel free to ask.
Sir, I have
Yes,
a
please.
question.
Yes, please.
Sir, when we use rubrics in lab,
Yes.
I agree that the assessment will be good and we also make them learn. All those things are fine. But will we not have the same problem which we mentioned in the slow learner and for advanced learners? Maybe advanced learners will crack it out easily and the slow learners, won't they feel bad? Do we have the option that we can make them improve the rubrics? Make them do it again and improve the rubrics? Or once we give the assessment based on the rubrics, in that case, won't the person who is a slow learner feel bad?
Yes, madam, you are very right. Actually, that's why I used one word, assessment culture. We have to change the mindset of students, and we should say them that we should not live in a make-believe world, that because we can keep them happy in institute by giving them giving them good marks to all of them, by talking nicely to them. But in industry is very cruel, and they have to compete there, and they will not get job, they will be thrown out of the system. So we have to develop an assessment culture where we have to inform everyone that it is for you. And we and second thing, uh, we should say that if we are giving feedback in a class openly, suppose normally we are giving a feedback to one student in a class, then we should say that this feedback is not for this student, because many other also commit the same mistake. So it is for all, and it is for learning. So we are giving feedback for learning, and we should say that here we are giving feedback, all of you are students, you know each other, so you should not feel bad about it. But if we don't give you proper feedback here, and if you are not able to get employment, or if you join an industry because you are good marks, based on your good marks industry gives you employment, but if you are not able to perform and then their boss scolds you in front of others, then it will be more insulting. At lower age, you are 18 years, 20 years, 21 years, it is easy to accept the feedback or insult, but it will be more difficult to accept the insult, to face the insult when you will be 30 years of age or 25 years or 28 years of age. So we should try to change the mindset. You are very right that mindset has changed in India in such a way that nobody wants to get the good feedback, get the correct feedback. Everyone wants to listen good things. So as a teacher, we have to reverse that trend. We have to tell a student that this is for your improvement. So in next time, maybe may not be you will not repeat this practical because that is not possible to get the repeat the same practical. But in the next practical, you will take care and you will improve. So gradually you will improve. So that culture we have to develop. Madam. It is difficult, but there is no other solution. We have to do it politely, convince student, inform student, and that it is in their interest, in their long-term interest.
Okay, sir.
So it is difficult, but there is no other way around. We have to do it very politely and take students in confidence, and for that, teachers have to devote time. And of course, for that, basic condition is student-teacher ratio. There should be less student um, per teacher. So without that, it is not possible. I do it. Thank you very much.